Good morning, guys. It's Monday morning, beginning of the work week for most of us. And I'm here continuing in Luke, and I'm going to be reading, continuing Luke chapter 4. Now, today I'm starting at verse number 23. Then he said, and this is Jesus talking, "You will undoubtedly quote me this proverb, 'Physician, heal yourself,' meaning, do miracles here in your hometown like those you did at Capernaum. But I tell you the truth, no prophet is accepted in his own hometown." And then he continued and he said, "Certainly there were many needy widows in Israel in Elijah's time, when heavens were closed for 3.5 years and a severe famine devastated the land. Yet Elijah was not sent to any of them. He was sent instead to a foreigner, a widow in Zarephath, in the land of Sidon. And there were many lepers in Israel in the time of the prophet Elisha, but only one was healed, Naaman the Syrian." Now here, after that, it goes on and it says, "When they heard this, the people in the synagogue were furious. Jumping up, they mobbed him and forced him to the edge of the hill which the town was built. They intended to push him over the cliff, but he passed right through the crowd and went on his way." Now, it's very funny sometimes, how fickle people's opinions are. Just before this, when he started reading, there were people that were amazed at what he was saying. But not always everyone around you will be happy when they see the power and the glory of God beginning to manifest in your life. And so he went on and he said, you know what? A prophet is hardly ever given honor in his hometown. Because as I was saying a couple of days ago, they only see what they think and what they know, and they come with their misconceptions, and their own theory on what should be and what should not be. But God always has a different plan. The plans of God don't always follow those of man. And so he says, you know what, this is what's going to happen. You guys are not going to get a lot out of me because you don't believe. A prophet is hardly ever given that kind of honor in his hometown. And so I want us to remind us to don't get caught up if the people closest to you don't see what God sees inside of you. Sometimes he would take a stranger, a foreigner, and use that person to be pivotal in launching your career, in launching your ministry, and not necessarily the people closest to you that you think were going to be the people them to really honor you, and so on. And so if you're going through that kind of struggle, be reminded that even Jesus had that issue. Those that were closest to him did not see the glory that God had inside of him, and they were very upset, to the point that they were willing to kill this man because they did not agree with what he was saying. One of the things that he inferred is that, in the time of Elisha and in the time of Naaman, people were very wicked, and so on. And yet God was able to work in the lives of non-Jews, a lot more easy than he was able to work in the life of Jews. Sometimes, we're victims of the church, where it seems like the things that the church is supposed to be, loving and kind and all these things, you don't always find that there. You might find that in a different congregation. You may find it not in your home church, but somewhere else. You may not find the acceptance they take you for granted where you fellowship, but people elsewhere honor you, like, oh my gosh, I love the way you speak. I love the way you do whatever ministry it is, whether it's sing or this kind of things, and the people locally take you for granted. The same it is sometimes in our very household. The people in our household just take, oh, that's just my wife, that's just my mom, that's just my sister, and they don't see all the greatness that God has inside of you. And the people outside, the people further afield, the people you come into contact with sometimes in a different town, in a different country, in a strange land, in a different environment, see what it is that God has placed in you and are more willing to honor it. So remember that as we go, don't let these things get to us. As I said, he just, they wanted to stone him and he just passed right through the crowd and went on his way. So that's what I want us to do. Pass right through the crowd and go on our way. Continue to go to where God has said about you. Continue to go and do the things that God wants you to do, that in your spirit he's telling you to do. The greatness, manifest that greatness that he is saying he placed in you, and not be caught up with the fact that you may not always get honor and the people that are very closest to you. But sometimes it takes people that are further afield, or even, as they say, foreigners, to really recognize the greatness that's inside of you. All right? That's my word of reminder today as you go into the day. Have a marvelous Monday. And remember, he loves you, and I do too. Be blessed, guys.